because of the governor's commitment to workers' welfare, he accepted to pay Abia workers a wage award of 45,000 in total. That's at 15,000 per month over.
Some of the citizens hailed the understanding between both parties, while others disagree with the development.
It's good that they suspended it because I don't think Nigeria will develop embarking on a series of strike. Because even for someone that owns a private business, you don't progress in that business by always going off from your business.
The way you say things now, I don't know. If you decide to stay or to listen to them, maybe they won't take the action. But through that strike, they will know what to do.
The organized labor in the state will have to watch the government to see the process of implementation of the agreements reached. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Thanks to Chinwe Ugele for that report. The federal government has repatriated 190 Nigerians from the United Arab Emirates. In a statement signed by the Director, North Central Zone, Alhaji Bashir Idris Gaja, on behalf of the DG NEMA, Zubaida Umar, he said the returnees arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at about 5:45 a.m. local time on Tuesday. He adds that they were received by a team of government officials led by the National Emergency Management Agency. The returnees were profiled and documented by relevant agencies and advised to conduct themselves with decorum and responsibility. The government urged all Nigerians to act as exemplary ambassadors, upholding the values of patriotism, rule of law, decency, and integrity. Still in the news, let's talk health matters now. Governor Abiodun Oyebanji of Ekiti State, MDCN Registrar Fatima Akiari, University of Ibadan Vice Chancellor Professor Kayode Adebowale, and the College of Medicine Provost Professor Olayinka Omigbodu have urged new doctors to stay in Nigeria and contribute to the health sector. Speaking at the induction ceremony for the 2024 MBBS and BDS graduates at the University of Ibadan, they emphasized repaying the country's investment in their training by applying their skills locally. The 147 new graduates dubbed the Lotus 2024 include 122 MBBS and 22 BDS doctors. Governor Ibanji, whose daughter Toluwanimi was among the inductees, encouraged the graduates to support Nigerian healthcare instead of seeking opportunities abroad. Let's now head to the courts as we understand that the Kano State High Court has issued a restraining order against the Emir of Kano, Aminu Adobayero, and 4 other emirs from Rano, Gaya, Bichi, and Karaye, preventing them from parading themselves as emirs. Delivering the judgment on Monday, Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu further restrained the 15th Emir of Kano and 4 other dethroned emirs, servants, privies, and any other appointed persons appointed by them. The case was filed by the Attorney General of Kano State, the Speaker, and the Kano State House of Assembly, represented by Counsel Ibrahim Issa Wangida, on May 27th. Justice Adamu Aliyu affirmed the legislative powers of the Kano State House of Assembly and the authority of the state governor to assent to the bill. The court ordered the emirs to surrender all properties of the Kano State Emirate Council to the state government and criticize the conduct of the police and security agencies involved. Earlier, Abdulateef Abubakar, Jos editor-in-chief of Soleil's Bay's online newspaper, spoke to us on this development.
This afternoon, we're so surprised even as journalists because the case was initially slated for July 18th, not even today. Because at the last adjourned date, what the judge said was they were supposed to be in court on 18th of July for issues to be for issues to be addressed. It has to do with several applications. For instance, there is a joinder application that is supposed to be examined. There is an application for the judge herself to recluse herself from the case. There's an originating summon, and there is a motion for setting aside the initial ex parte order. But it was so surprising this afternoon that when the court settled down for the business of the day, it was a judgment that came up, not even all those issues that were discussed all along. I mean, for those applications. And at the same time, the judge during the session, strike out any of those applications.
You're still watching News Central now. The news continues after this short break.
Africa is rising. Again, we hear our sounds echo on the other side. Afrobeat and Afropop reinvented, hip life brought back to life, new energy infused into Kwaito and Kwela. Africa is balling. Every stroke, every shot, every raise, we find our place at the top. Taking the helm of real power, new hopes for democracies. A breed of entrepreneurial tigers, audacious storytellers, and a promising generation raring to go. Truly, Africa is rising. And this is where the stories that define our continent live.
And now to discuss the possibilities of brain drain and the encouragement by the governor of Abia State, Governor Oyo LG, to, of course, medical doctors to stay in the country. We're joined this morning by public affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Good morning.
Great to have you.
How is Lagos?
Lagos is fantastic. Now, given the well-documented issue of, the doctor brain drain in Nigeria, aside, words of encouragement, what specific initiatives or improvements in the healthcare do you think will be more persuasive in encouraging these newly inducted doctors and maybe even the older ones to stay and practice in Nigeria?
A pathway to retaining health practitioners, doctors, nurses, and allied workers in the medical field. The pathway to retaining them is very clear. You need to incentivize them. They have consistently made it abundantly clear that their salaries and allowances are not competitive even compared to other African countries. Not even talking about Europe or America or the Middle East. And in as far as you continue to pay these doctors peanuts, they will continue to emigrate. And that is not even the only reason. Look at tell me one center of excellence that we have in terms of healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Not even the Abuja National Hospital. Our leaders don't even believe in our healthcare system. Our presidents have always traveled to Europe or America or Saudi Arabia for their Medicare. It shows lack of trust in the medical field in Nigeria. And because we have refused to do the needful. If you look at UCH, University College Hospital Ibadan, that was the prime healthcare institutions between the 1960s and 1990s. So much so that other African countries, citizens from there comes to Ibadan for their Medicare. Today, UCH is a shadow of itself. UCH early this year was the light of the electricity supply to UCH was disconnected because they were owing close to 500 million naira on electricity bill. It is that bad. How can you work in an environment where there are no equipment, where the equipment is obsolete, where it is archaic, where doctors are on call 24/7, they don't even earn very good allowances, and they spend 7 years after their university education, they go for 1 year housemanship, they still go for youth service before they can practice. So when you don't have the enabling environment, you don't expect them to stay. Moreover, what about insecurity? We have had situations where bandits will kidnap doctors and nurses and take them inside the bush over, to be attending to their victims, as doctors inside the bush. So these are some of the things that needs to be looked into. We need to guarantee safety and security of these doctors, whether they are young or old. We need to provide the enabling environment. It's not enough to just engage in rhetorics. Oh, government is doing enough. Government is doing well. Government is trying its best. The government's best is not good enough.
All right, Ms. Ojo.
If it is good enough, we should have had the president of Nigeria, assessing their own Medicare within the country. Only former President Olusegun Obasanjo ever visited National Hospital for his Medicare. And he's the only one in 8 years that didn't travel out on medical tourism. All the other presidents apart from go abroad.
I don't remember if Goodluck Jonathan also did a lot of medical tourism, but that's a different conversation. What I want to ask is, the governor of Ekiti State, Abia State, of course, who is encouraging these doctors to stay back and work for for the country and all that. Can we say that he's not aware of the reasons that doctors are leaving, or is there a way to guilt trip these persons to stay back and, just manage the conditions that doctors have to deal with here? Bear in mind that it's not just doctors, it's every type of healthcare worker in the country and Nigerians generally.
Well, it's not as if Governor Yemaki is not aware. He's just being patriotic. He's just appealing to the sentiments of the emotions and the psychology of these doctors, that they should help. Because in truth, let's look at the other side of the divide. How much does doctors in Nigeria pay for tuition to graduate from start to finish? They pay next to nothing because their study is highly subsidized. If you compare what a medical doctor in Nigeria pays all through his schooling or schooling years in Nigeria and what a medical student will pay in UK, you will find that difference is like sleep and death. Because in UK, by the time you pay like £15,000 per session, just convert that to Naira. But here in Nigeria, a medical student, even in private university, they pay 2 million, 3 million, and when you compare that over 5 years period, there is still under 20 million naira that you pay to graduate. And I'm talking of private institutions. In government-owned universities, they pay next to nothing. Tuition is almost free, and then save for buying textbooks and all of that. So when you look at the highly subsidized education that they enjoy in Nigeria, it is good and proper and fit and proper for them to make sacrifice to stay back and give back to Nigerian society. But we must make the situation livable for them. You cannot ride the willing horse to death. You cannot say because their education is subsidized, then they should come the answer. The other day, one of the medical students in the Lagos hospital died because she was trapped in the elevator in Lagos State. I know you know about it. A young lady who was trapped in an elevator and died. You know, that kind of medical negligence, you see a lot of that. And so what needs to be done is not just to continue to engage in platitudes. What Governor Yebanji is trying to do is just platitudes, appealing to emotions, oh, do this, do that. But, I mean, the truth that has to be said is that these people went to school for a reason. They also want better life for themselves. How could you have a doctor as a child and you cannot feed well as a parent, and your son cannot have a vehicle to convey him to and from work, does not live in a decent environment, they cannot afford the basic things of life? That is anathema. You know, it's like you have to strike a balance. Government needs to look into the welfare and security of these medical practitioners so that we can incentivize them to stay back and contribute to the economic development of Nigeria.
Oh, well, only time will tell. Thank you very much for stopping by and for sharing your thoughts with us on this very important topic.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
Moving away from talking healthcare, in the meantime, stakeholders have called for the protection of women and girls who have been at the receiving end of violent and armed conflicts. This was as they converged at the nation's capital, Abuja, for a review by the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies of the impact women can make when integrated into peace-building efforts in their communities. Marvelous Obomanu tells us more.
According to the Global Terrorism Index, Nigeria ranks number 3 among countries heavily impacted by violent conflicts in Africa and number 6 in the world. This puts women and girls in conflict-prone areas susceptible to the attacks by violent non-state actors.
Nigeria has one of the worst statistics when it comes to women representation in governance and decision-making. I think the moderator elaborated more on that. So UN Women is working with critical stakeholders to see how we can change the narrative to have more inclusivity and more women represented in decision-making positions.
As we all know, there have been increased and unprecedented rise in violent conflict in our country. Going by the Global Terrorism Index 2022, our country ranks third in the list of countries most impacted by terrorism in sub-Saharan Africa, and is the 6th most impacted country in the world.
In a bid to address this challenge, stakeholders converged on the nation's capital, Abuja, at the instance of National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies to review the role women and girls can play in peace-building efforts in their communities.
If you want development in any country, you have to use the talents in those countries. And 50% of the talents in any country are women.
Women's participation in leadership roles enhances long-term economic, environmental, and social outcomes and strengthens institutions of the society.
They say, with women inclusion at all levels, peace can be achieved. Some of them also called for an increase in the number of women in the parliament, saying they can help champion the rights of women, placing their issues on the front burner.
Only 20 or 19 women are in the National Assembly. And with that number, I don't think we can make any impact without actually you people coming in to support us.
Since I've come into Parliament in 2007, there has been a decreasing number of women in the Parliament.
The stakeholders also urge women to be more accommodating and partner with other women to help achieve their objective.
The men are fighting for us, but some of us women are the ones not even allowing fellow women to come up. So, if you find yourself in any position that you need to bring others, make sure that you carry them along too.
But you must demonstrate capacity. And I assure you that in the Senate, I'm a member of the Senate Committee on Women Affairs. We're waiting for your bill. We will support this bill because it's a godly bill.
With the promise of special seats for women now being championed by members of parliament, the issue of women inclusion might soon be a thing of the past. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboman.
Thanks to Marvelous Obomanu for that report. Now to politics. The national leader of the new Nigeria People's Party has dismissed any chance of a merger with other political parties in the build-up to the 2027 general elections. He accused the ruling All Progressives Congress and the opposition People's Democratic Party of failing to meet the yearnings of citizens in the last 25 years. Again, Marvelous Obomanu tells us more.
Political calculations, mergers, and re-strategizing for the 2027 elections have begun, with political parties already making their moves. The national leader of the new Nigeria People's Party, while expressing optimism of the NNPP's chances ahead of the general elections coming up in 2027, says that the party is confident of victory and is not interested in merging with any other political party.
All what I know, we are not in discussion with any party or any individual. What I know now is we are building our party at all levels, and it's getting stronger and stronger by the day. So we are very much encouraged. We are so happy that we have got a party today that is growing more than any other party in this country.
The stage is being set for this party to grow, to expand, and capture power at the center come 2027.
Recently, the new Nigeria People's Party changed its flag, logo, and constitution on the basis that the old one posed a challenge for its supporters during the 2023 elections.
Our experience in the last general elections, when the old logo with its many colors posed a great challenge in the production of the ballot papers, gave us a clear indication that for the party, going forward, there was an urgent need to do something about the logo especially.
We are very happy, we are so happy that we now have new color, which is very conspicuous, which by the end of the day will be very clear on any ballot paper.
This is the letter from INEC about our new constitution, our new logo, our new slogan. Everything about NNPP is here in this letter.
The image on the old logo has now been changed from a basket full of fruits to a book with a graduation cap. The NNPP says that the image is in line with the objective, which is offering Nigerians sustainable education that will boost development.
Our priority has always been and will continue to be number one, education, number two, education, number three, education.
With the new party logo, flag, and constitution, it is obvious NNPP is repositioning itself for 2027 election. The national leader of the party has made it emphatically clear that NNPP is not considering any merger with any other political party. He used the opportunity to call on other members of the party to come together, jettison the challenges of 2023 election, and then build alliances and reposition itself to win the 2027 election. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboman.
And from Abuja now to Oyo State, where its governor, Seyi Makinde, says his government will not allow the people of the state to suffer from the fallout of the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. The governor on Monday set up two committees saddled with the responsibilities of reviewing the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy and coming up with recommendations that will ensure the change does not affect the people of the state negatively. Makinde maintained that the judgment has created a constitutional lacuna that will throw up different challenges at the local government level. He said he convened a meeting of all relevant stakeholders in the local government system so that they could outline the major challenges at the councils and develop solutions that will ensure a seamless implementation of the process.
On May 29, 2019, I dissolved the local government. The Supreme Court just basically said to us that, look, governors don't have rights to dissolve those local councils. But why did I dissolve the local council then? It was because elections were held into the LCDAs. And the same Supreme Court has basically now said only 774 local governments in Nigeria. So there's confusion in the land. And when you have confusion, what it means is the structure is shaking. So you have to remove as much of this confusion as possible.
From Oyo State, let's move to Edo State, where a civil society organization in Edo has accused some personnel of the Nigerian Navy of taking sides in a dispute between a private citizen, Paul Audu, and the Christ Embassy Church in Asese community in Edo State. The dispute, which was recently resolved by a court in the state, which mandated the removal of a perimeter fence obstructing the access road to the private property of Audu, which was put up by the church group during a press conference in Benin City, the Edo State capital, condemned video evidence obtained where naval personnel were seen threatening to shoot staff of the demolition company tasked to carry out the court's orders.
Christ Embassy allegedly employed the services of some armed naval officers and policemen to obstruct the enforcement of a valid court order, which ordered the removal of a perimeter fence obstructing access road to the property of one Mr. Paul.
And now to Delta State, the governor, Sheriff Oborewuri, on Monday charged newly elected chairmen and vice chairmen of the 25 local governments in the state to embark on viable infrastructural projects and ensure modesty, fiscal discipline, prudent management, judicious allocation of resources, and excellent service delivery. The governor gave the charge while swearing in the newly elected chairman and vice chairman of the 25 local government areas in Asaba, the state capital. Governor Oborewuri, who reiterated the state government does not tamper with local government funds, said he welcomed the Supreme Court's ruling on local government autonomy, emphasizing that statutory allocations to local governments in the state for the last 3 months remained intact.
Statutory allocations for the last 3 months are intact. Therefore, the Supreme Court judgment on financial autonomy for local government council is a welcome development. Actually, Delta State has never tampered with local government funds. Rather, the state government has often had to augment the allocations to the local government council to enable them meet their financial obligations. You know, this is a huge burden. This burden they have been taken away from us. So we are very happy, very, very happy. Aside from financial allocations, I expect you to improve on your internal generated revenue and ensure it forms a sizable chunk of your revenue. However,
and still in the news, the Lagos State government has signed a partnership agreement with CIG Motors Company Limited, which will see the state add to the existing 1,000 vehicles currently used by, or rather for, the e-hailing cab business known as LagRide. This new addition is expected to further improve the road transportation system in the state, especially with the inclusion of electronic vehicles as part of the fleet. News Central's Bernard Akede tells us more.
In a bid to improve road transportation experience in Lagos State, the state government, through Ibile Holdings, which is an investment arm of Lagos State, has signed a partnership agreement with CIG Motors Company Limited. The partnership will see the acquisition of 5,000 new vehicles for the Lag Ride e-hailing cab project. However, worthy of note is that 1,000 of the 5,000 new cars will be purely electric vehicles.
One of the key beneficiaries of this partnership is the significant contribution of the reduction of greenhouse gas emission through the introduction of the electric vehicles. This move not only promotes environmental sustainability, but also positions Lagos as a leader in green transportation initiative.
This partnership would have a great economic and social impact on Lagosians through an additional job creation through direct employment in driving, maintenance, and administration roles. It will boost the local economy with increased accessibility, thereby improving the transportation system. It will enhance transportation infrastructure in Lagos and improve public transport modal options.
The chairman CEO of CIG Motors, as well as the Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Lagos, both spoke about how this partnership will further strengthen the ties between China and Nigeria.
We want to make this project contribute at least 1% GDP for the President Tinubu's mission, 1 trillion. In the next 3 to 5 years, we are targeting to embark over 1 million brand new cars driving on this platform.
After their speeches, it was the turn of the state governor to give his remark on the project ahead, after which the dotted lines were signed.
Phase 1 of it will first to see a 2,000 coming, and in that 2,000 we'll be having electric vehicles. That has been a conversation, and also CNG vehicles. These will begin to change, the carbon footprints that we've all been talking about as in the future of transportation, as in the future of energy transition, the future of climate change. And so we don't want to take the back seat.
When all the talk was over, the governor tested his driving skills in one of the vehicles while conducting an inspection.
The importance that have two significant points. Number one, that it strengthen the PPP partnership really effective and also bring the real project to African country.
The first set of vehicles is expected to arrive in the country by the end of 2024. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
The Sector Skills Council for Building in Nigeria has announced plans to initiate a program aimed at promoting apprenticeships, certifying and licensing skilled individuals in the informal building sector. This was announced during a press briefing in Abuja, the nation's capital, in commemoration of the 2024 World Skills Day. Our correspondent, Joshua Imarai, has the report.
In commemoration of this year's World Skills Day, the Sector Skills Council for Building in Nigeria has announced plans to launch a certification and licensing program to promote apprenticeship and skill set in the informal sector. The president of the council, while making this known in a press briefing in Abuja, urged governments at all levels to collaborate and provide the necessary support for the implementation of the initiative.
We have initiated programs to promote apprenticeship, certification, and licensing initiatives in the informal sector, alongside implementing the recognition of prior learning. We hereby call upon the federal government and subnational governments, that's the states and the local authorities, to collaborate with us in providing the necessary support for the implementation of the recognition of prior learning initiative.
The president says that the training initiative will provide certification for individuals and offer an invaluable opportunity to boost the capacity of workers in the informal sector, enhancing their overall competence and proficiency.
Now, RPL is said to be recognition of prior learning, so we can bring you in and say, what do you know about this skill? We test you, so we know your competence, then we know what you need to advance. And then we can recognize that which you know and give you a certification at that level. That certification captures you into the economy. Now, if anybody now wants to engage you, you can say, this is my level.
He expressed optimism that the initiative will facilitate the development of out-of-school training, equipping young Nigerians with relevant skills that can help them contribute to the nation's development. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Central now, and coming up, 200 more Kenyan police leave for Haiti mission. We'll bring you more details after this break.
I love to make a difference as a journalist because when you speak to the situation or the people affected, that's when you get the full story.
And so we go all out. The protest was ongoing and it was peaceful across the plains for real-time stories. And it was the longest bridge until the 6th of October bridge was completed in Cairo, Egypt. Ni Omoni. This is News Central.
Welcome back, and now to other parts of the continent. In East Africa, a second batch of Kenyan police left Nairobi for Haiti to help fight gangs that had almost overrun the Caribbean nation. A team of 200 well-trained officers left Nairobi on Monday night aboard a United Nations chartered flight and is scheduled to arrive in Port-au-Prince on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Kenyan time. The outgoing Deputy Inspector General of Administration of Police, the coordinator of the Multinational Security Support Mission in Haiti, Nor Gabo, and the acting DIG, James Kamau, were present to see off the team. MSS is an international police force approved by the United Nations Security Council on the 2nd of October 2023 to assist the government of Haiti in restoring law and order amid worsening civil strife and gang violence since 2018. And staying in the region, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has scored a crushing election victory that will extend his iron-fisted rule by another 5 years, according to partial results released on Monday. The National Election Commission made this known after 79% of ballots had been counted, that de facto leader since the end of the 1994 genocide and president since 2000, Kagame, scored 99.15% of the vote. This tops the 98.79% Kagame won in the last election in 2017 and puts him streets ahead of the only two candidates authorized to run against him. Democratic Green Party candidate Frank Habineza scrapped 0.53% of the vote and independent Philip Mpayimana 0.32%. And now to parts of the world. Former President Donald Trump has been formally nominated to head the Republican presidential ticket in November. This comes less than 48 hours after a gunman shot at Donald Trump during a Pennsylvania rally, a bullet grazing the former president and killing a spectator. Trump also announced his running mate on Truth Social on Monday, tapping the Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his vice presidential pick. Vance, who once called himself an anti-Trump Republican, has since become a fervent supporter of the former president. And hundreds of protesters in the southern province of Diwania in Iraq are protesting power cuts and water shortages during the extreme heat of summer. Decades of war have left the country's infrastructure in a pitiful state, with power cuts worsening the blistering summer when temperatures often reach 50 degrees Celsius, mostly in southern provinces. Dozens of villages in Dionia have also suffered for years from water shortages because of a 4-year-long drought and reduced river flows. Recall that last week hundreds of people also protested outside electricity department offices in Gamas district, blocking roads and burning tires. Now let's join our business desk for today.
On business news, Nigeria's Minister of State for Agriculture, Aliyu Abdullahi, has assured Nigerians that the federal government is working to address the high cost of food prices in the country. The minister, who stated this on Monday, said, according to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's food inflation rate stood alarmingly high at 40.1% in March 2024, pushing the prices of essential commodities beyond the reach of millions of Nigerians, but assured citizens that the government is addressing the situation. This is at the backdrop of the latest inflation figures revealed by the NBS in its document titled CPI and Inflation Report June 2024, showing that inflation rate has increased from 33.95% in May 2024 to 34.19% in June 2024. Nigerian banks have generated approximately 30 trillion naira in new loans and support for the private sector over a one-year period, demonstrating their pivotal role in the country's economic renewal efforts. According to Kodros Securities' weekly economic and market report, recent data from the Central Bank of Nigeria shows that credit to the private sector increased by 65.9% or 29.52 trillion naira, reaching 74.31 trillion naira in May 2024, compared to 44.79 trillion naira in the same period of 2023. This significant growth in lending and support show the robust balance sheets of Nigerian banks and their responsiveness to the CBN's directive for increased lending to stimulate economic activity.
And now to some sports news. At least 22 players of Nigerian Premier League club Kwara United Football Club have been laid off ahead of the 2024-2025 season. The general manager of the club, Bashir Badawi, disclosed that 23 top stars from the league have been recruited to fortify the club. He added that top quality players have agreed to join the team, including Abayomi Samo from 3SC, Jimmy Iteji from Plateau United, top-class goal stoppers, Nigeria team under-17, under-20, under-23, and Chan Eagles players, including Kazim Badmus and Adamu Abubakar, as well as Ifeanyi Ogba from NPFL champions Rangers International. He called on the players to shun in discipline and work in line with the philosophy of the club and target ending the next season among the top three. Also in sports, in preparation for the Olympic Games, Super Falcons have lined up in an international friendly against their counterparts from Canada. Super Falcons under coach Randy Waldrum have been in closed camp in Seville, Spain ahead of the Olympics. The Nigerian Football Federation made it known that Falcons would clash with Canada behind closed doors on the 17th of July. Falcons and Canada clashed at the last FIFA World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, and it ended 1-1. And also in sports, African Football Governing Body has sent out a message to all participating clubs in the Champions League and the Confederations Cup who do not have an approved stadium. The Confederation of African Football last week released the list of the stadiums approved to host the upcoming Champions League and Confederations Cup, and no Nigerian clubs have approved venues. The football body said all teams without an approved stadium must communicate their adopted venue for CAF, or to CAF rather, on or before July 22nd. The body further stated that failure to do so means CAF will schedule the game for any stadium of its choice. Rangers International and Remo Stars will play in the Champions League, while Aimba International and El Kanemi Warriors will contend in the Confederations Cup. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. President Tinubu is scheduled to meet labor leaders on Thursday to discuss new minimum wage issues. And also, Nigerian government repatriates 190 of its citizens from the United Arab Emirates. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame extends his 24-year rule with crushing election victory. Remember to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Osaogie Ogbonwa.
Direct response to live happenings. Factual content as truthful reporting is at the heart of our responsibility. This is the site of where the building collapse happened at about 4-5 yesterday evening. I am Bettina Unwili. This is News Central.
Africa is a potential food basket. It's not yet food basket. But if we do what we should do, of course, Africa will feed itself completely, absolutely, and also be reasonably a food basket of the world.
For many college and university students in Nigeria, a more improved, innovative and accessible learning process is the most effective way to learn.
Some of the things we have to...
With a vast and cumbersome curriculum, the Nigerian educational system makes the finest graduates. Through innovative partnerships, the learning process for students can be easier.
We're pleased to be here to develop this partnership that will be an opportunity for our students, our faculty, to exchange, to learn from each other, and to co-create opportunities for learning for our students. So we're really thrilled about the beginning and launching of this partnership that we know is going to have a huge impact for our students and hopefully in ways that will have an impact on our world.
Partnerships like these, those who have done it, rather than trying to recreate the wheel, what it helps us to do is actually leverage them to fast forward what we're doing by having some of them come in here to support us. And in the area of support is to even work with our faculty to have better ways of facilitating knowledge.
2024 will go down in history for many reasons.
Education in Nigeria will always be a blooming investment, and partnerships between the historically black college and university and a group of Nigerian universities based in Lagos aim to yield results by targeting innovation to solve social issues through education.
We're setting up an innovation hub on campus that will be helping our students across the STEM disciplines and the other business disciplines, arts disciplines on campus to come together and come up with all sorts of innovative solutions to some of the problems that plague us as a society. And we know that these are the sort of partnerships that will drive all of our ideas forward in record time. I mean, we can decide that we want to do it alone, but no man is an island. We know that with these sort of cooperative, collaborative partnerships, we can drive our ideas forward faster and achieve far more.
It's about collaboration and not...
As the country evolves, making exponential progress in various sectors, education will always be a goldmine for the country's advancements. In Lagos for News Central, Chidima Ona.
Every day, maritime operations connect the world, transporting goods and fueling economies. Currently valued at about $25 billion, Africa's maritime industry and its connected sectors could be worth $50 to $80 billion in just a few years. But the industry must face its challenges, and that is where Maritime Radar comes in. At the heart of Maritime Radar is the focus on preserving Africa's waterways and marine economy for generations to come, while also building the continent's prosperity. Industry news, exclusive interviews, and News Central's unique storytelling sets the pace to bring to the fore investment opportunities in marine tourism and the blue economy, aquaculture, marine transportation, security, and much more. Navigate Africa's waterways and ride the waves with us.
We go where the market demands, as business, trade, and market analysis are the core of our reports.
Nigerians are beginning to speculate that the price of premium motor spirit might increase.
If it's breaking, we got it. If it affects you, your business, and your pocket, we're on it. We connect the dots of business so you understand what it all means.
It is our hope that the efforts of the federal government to tame inflation yield desired results as soon as possible.
I am Perpetua Fasamipita. You're watching News Central.
direct response to live happenings, factual content as truthful reporting is at the heart of our responsibility. This is the site of where the building collapse happened at about 4-5 yesterday evening. I am Bettina Onwili. This is News Central.
Beautiful Jasiri lovers, we're back again to bring you the big conversations, the trending stories, and the hottest gists. Now, for those who have been wondering when they can show off in Dubai again, great news. The 2-year ban on Nigerians has been lifted. So get ready for your next vacation, your shopping spree, or, some people just go there to take pictures. So whatever you have planned is fine. Ladies, should we plan a girls' trip to the UAE?
Just go there to take pictures.
It's true now.
So the amount of ticket money, hotel stay, feeding, just to go and to pepper the rest of us.
Forget it.
I didn't see it coming. Are you speaking from experience, Bessie? Because when you say forget it.
If I experience, so should I be here? But I know there are people there that,
just going to charge their phones.
That's toasting money.
That thing they do says. That thing they do said rings in my head so often when I hear my friends talk about like relationships and dating this time, that a guy has pegged you and said, this is how much I'm going to spend to get this guy.
Yes, that thing.
It stays with me. It stays with me.
You don't want to think about it, but you know that somewhere in there rings the truth.
Yeah.
Because if you sit down and want to think about it, you say, that's true. That time.
And that's why Blessing says for some people, it's shopping money. It's just small. But Dubai is a beautiful place. I haven't been back. We went for a honeymoon several years ago. And it's a so what struck me, because as soon as you're coming out of the airport, there are all these people who want you to invest and who are pulling at you. People are buying real estate in the air. Dubai is building up, not so much as wide.
Yeah.
So people are buying. You're buying something square feet in the air of a building that has not been built or a building that has been built. They have packaged and they have lived up to the packaging in a way as well. But it's if you have an opportunity, not one that will bankrupt you, please.
No. Because it's true. When you hear Dubai, you think it's a very expensive country. It is expensive. Dubai, it's a beautiful country. It's expensive. From the airport itself, you know that, wow.
And you know that the whites that they wear.
Oh my Lord.
Look at all these like
the airport be like market.
Like, wow.
There's always people moving.
Did I enter a Barbara Cartland novel? All these Arab sheiks around me.
So you feel you have the perception of where I'm rich.
Let me know.
Yes, let me,
And then you
it's
come
a
back
lovely
and you look
country,
at the fact that there's only Gary left in the house. So please, if you want to.
You know, when you travel, you go on vacation, it's nice, but when you're coming back, and I think when it weighs heavily on you when you're coming back and thinking, oh boy.
It's still going to be light when I get home.
Yeah, they tell you.
Let's not start this conversation. You know my sentiments right now. Let's not start this conversation. Let's move us forward.
All right, so there's this popular quote by Paulo Coelho that I saw, and it says, it's the simple things in life that are the most extraordinary. Do you ladies agree?
My dear.
I think that was a dense statement, too. Because life is no longer simple.
No, but even at that, okay, let me ask this question. What's the most basic thing that someone can get to you as a gift that would make you happy?
I don't do basic.
Your own is money.
Okay, in that you don't do basic. The list of the don't do basic, the list gangan on your ladder can be perhaps
tickets, hotel stay, business class. I don't do basic.
But mine is food.
You know, I was just going to say, where chin chin. Or
chin chin will soon grow on the two of you people's heads.
It's inside joke. They can buy you with chin chin. No, but really, mine is food.
But because I cook so many things, you can't use food to.
No, but just imagine not having to cook and then.
Because you make chin chin all the time.
Okay,
let me. Why food be something that's basic?
I'm saying for you, right? You don't have to enter the kitchen. They just say, you know what? For the next 3 days, I'm just spoiling you with anything you want to eat.
Well, food, okay, that's basic enough. If I think about it, I would say scented candles. Scented candles.
I wanted to say hair, but hair's not so basic. Yeah, so just
it's hair.
You people want to be carrying plots of land.
So that's
even phone is no longer basic because depending on the specs of the phone, it could end up being like school fees money for multiple terms. But if I was to say, I had to say basic and come down to you people's level, I would say like a 3-day, a 1-week stay at an all-inclusive resort, somewhere in I'll manage Lagos.
I don't think she understands. We need to see that. We need to understand the question that we're asking to. That's I need to fill exam.
So the thing is, she's a luxury person. She can't even picture it.
I don't understand.
So you don't blame her. Like she can't picture.
I don't
what are we talking about? Food, scented candles.
I paid for this baby girl life. And I must live this baby girl life.
We are so sorry. Serious.
That question was not for you. I apologize.
Do you understand? And she first answered it. She first told us, I don't do basic.
I don't do basic.
Ouch! Ouch! Oh, Entaju. Oh, wow.
Oh, Wale.
He don't do basic. So what do we do that is, hair is not basic now.
No, that's why I didn't say hair. I said food.
Well, it gotta be hair, man.
It is hair, right? But food.
I was going to say. Yeah, that means I'm the most basic of them. Oh, Father Lord, I thank you.
No, you haven't. You have the non-basic thing.
Chin before we went on air.
So, okay, what's the non-basic thing?
What did I give you this morning?
Hey!
You see, I don't do what? I don't do basic.
But it's food now.
It's not basic food.
No, it's not basic food. Okay.
There's different levels to
these things.
Oh!
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to market. But when we come back, Jasiri will take you on a journey on many layers. Here is where we deal with difficult and complex conversations. Jasiri will return shortly.
Africa is rising. Again, we hear our sounds echo on the other side. Afrobeat and Afropop reinvented, hip life brought back to life, new energy infused into Kwaito and Kwela. Africa is balling. Every stroke, every shot, every raise, we find our place at the top. Taking the helm of real power, new hopes for democracies. A breed of entrepreneurial tigers, audacious storytellers, and a promising generation raring to go. Truly, Africa is rising. And this is where the stories that define our continent live.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We're at News Central TV. Use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversations. Now, some food for thought, or rather just some food.
Yep.
The federal government of Nigeria...
I like that.
Tolu was here when we were rhyming yesterday.
No, I saw it. Yeah.
We were rapping yesterday. What would your rap have been?
I have no idea. Let's face the story first. Let me think about that.
So you know what came to my mind? I'm talking about food. I'm talking about let's move.
Okay,
let's go. Yeah.
Now, the federal government of Nigeria is sending 20 trucks of rice to each state and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to help ease the economic burden on citizens. According to the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, each truck contains 1,200 bags of 25 kg rice, which will be distributed to vulnerable individuals and families. This initiative aims to address food security challenges and alleviate hardship, reflecting the government's commitment to social welfare. Wow. So each truck contains 1,200 bags of 25 kg rice. 1,200 times 20. Please, I'll quickly do the math and get you the numbers.
I said that chair is the problem.
I don't know. But really, is this what...
No.
Will this achieve what government hopes it's going to achieve?
No, I can tell you that for free. No.
Why?
Because, first of all, we're talking about... Is it accountability? Something happened when one of ours shared how she mistakenly transferred money to an Uber driver. You know, like a cab company.
Yes.
And then to get her money back, she mistakenly she was supposed to send like maybe 84, she sent
84,000.
And then getting it back, accountability, the man blocked her on all platforms. And so looking at that is among us, we the citizens. Now you're looking at this initiative by government, and we're looking at this initiative by government to, alleviate. You do that. The people who you're putting in charge distribute this and make sure these goods reach their final destinations. How are we sure that these people are not going to put their family members, their neighbors, and every other person's names there as families who are in distress and who need this dire assistance from government?
So my thing is, we're yet to even define who the vulnerable citizens are. I'm vulnerable because I ain't got no
sister with your hair. You don't. You are not vulnerable.
But on a serious note, we haven't defined who. When you say you want to give to vulnerable people, who are the vulnerable people? Is it the people that are earning the minimum wage, or the ones that do not even have jobs, or what exactly do you define as vulnerable people? That's one. Two, fine, it's a good initiative. It's a step probably in the right direction or in another direction. But you have rice. You don't have money to fuel the gas. You don't have money to buy pepper. Pepper is, do you know how much pepper is now? You can't buy tomatoes.
No, forget it.
At the end of the day, you can't even cook the rice. So let's even say you cook the rice, you eat the rice. How is that alleviating poverty in the whole of the country?
And so I get what you guys are saying. I think the idea is coming from a good place, because we've been hearing for how long that the federal government was going to release stores from the strategic grain reserves. And these are stores, obviously. But my big issue is what you said. How is the distribution going to be handled? And I'm looking at all the news reports. The minister is appealing to the state governments to make sure that they ensure equitable distribution of the rice to those who need it the most. So, Blessings, you asked a question about defining poverty and defining the vulnerable. We're using the World Bank definition, which is, I think, now has moved to about less than $2 a day. When you translate that at 1,500, that's people who are making around 3,000 naira per day. Those are the people who are considered vulnerable. We are not here. We're not there. Probably most of the people in our building may not also be considered, but we are all feeling the effects of it. How long does this rice last when you have an average family of 5? Is it only rice they're going to eat? And Blessings also asked a very good question. You bring the rice now, we have the salt. What are we eating the rice with? Exactly. So it's an equation, all these very long equations. So we're inputting one part of the equation, but what happens to when they go to the market for the oil, for the pepper, for the tomato, for either egg or meat, whatever, or pama, whatever you happen to be eating these days, that's still part of the whole value chain. But I'll come back again. Minister says that the state governor should ensure equitable distribution. What does that even mean?
Akoko, that is, it's English.
So every state is getting about, and the FCT are getting 24,000 bags.
They will not.
At 25 kg.
They will
sell the bags. Somehow, I might even say that 25 kg, split it into half. Because I don't think one 25 kg bag should, you want mass, so we have to, are we looking for mass distribution? Are we looking for targeted distribution? Split the 25 kg bag in half or into 3 or whatever, because I know you can split the bag and then give it to more families. But if you do that, you might not be getting people as much. So this is a really tricky place, and I think we all need to watch, because it's not free. It's costing the federal government something. It's costing the Nigerian state something, either grains from the strategic reserves or money or something that they need to plug to make sure that this is available. At this point, it's on the governors. Do we trust our governors?
No, I think we are too hungry. We are extremely hungry, too hungry to even see clearly. The people who are going to be in charge of distributing these, how are you going to verify them all the way to their houses to make sure they are the ones without sins who will cast the first stone?
Exactly. So this is not the first time that we're hearing of such initiative, and months down the line we're like, wait, that rice that they said was coming, where is it?
They have sold it. They're going to sell it. People who are there already doing the math, like Tolu sat here and did the math, 1, 2 times something. They have done the math also, and they are just waiting for the bag of rice to reach them, and they're just going to sell it. It's just the, would I say, street mentality, poverty mentality, the mentality of Nigerians now, of how we are, who we are. They don't care about rice. They will eat that white rice like that if they need to eat the white rice like that. They will cook it with palm oil if they need to cook it with palm oil. But in their minds, they are just seeing rice. And by all means necessary, they are just going to sell it. Not necessarily, okay, bring your girlfriends and your baby mamas and everybody, your neighbors, your family members, so that you can be voted the king of boys.
That's the thing. It becomes another publicity tool. We saw what happened during COVID. Food that was meant to go to people was stored and then repackaged so that someone could come and claim the glory for the food. So we have a chain of issues.
Yes, we do.
On this part, government is trying what it can, whether you agree with them or not. Now government is handing over to the states. The states will likely hand it over. Who are you handing it to? Local government chairmen? Are you handing it to state house representatives? People who are going to go to So right now, what I need to see is, like a Lagos State now, what is Lagos State's plan for the distribution of this? We still have the Sunday market. Like, what way are you using those? You said, I think that was supposed to be 25% off the food prices compared to the market. We haven't heard much about it, but I believe they're continuing. But what is the plan for Lagos State and every other state in equitably distributing this? But as Blessing said, right now we are all vulnerable. It's not even just the people who are earning 3,000 naira and less. We're all very, very vulnerable right now.
So I don't know if there are reactions to these news, because I know Nigerians, our blood is just hot in these past few days.
I said it. The whole of Nigerians are he meant vulnerable. What is this you are doing? This is very laughable. Instead of dealing with the issue, you are sharing rice. How long will it last? How many will that get to? How will it help the economy, or how will you feed the whole of Nigerians daily? And that's a very big question. You said this because of economic hardship, but how does this ricochet back on helping the economy? Then they go to Kano, which...
Oh, and I actually like that question. It was saying something about Kano having 20 million people, and then compared to another state that has like 3 or 6.
I was thinking about that this morning. You mean Kano with over 20 million people will receive 20 trucks, as well as Bielsa that has less than 3 million people? It doesn't make sense. I was thinking about that.
So it's not equitable.
It's not. It's equal, but it's not equitable.
Yes.
And the federal government doesn't want to be seen as not being equal, treating all component parts as equal, but meanwhile, it's not equitable. Lagos should not be getting the same amount as many other states. I actually agree. Kano too, if they're looking at the top states with the biggest population in Nigeria, we should not be getting the same amount.
Are we calm enough to do the mathematics and know that exactly where, and will people be enlightened to know that not because Kano gets 20 trucks, Bielsa will come and say, if you're giving Kano, we don't care how it is, give us our own. You know, this also.
But that's how it should be, because if you're saying that it should be equally and equitably distributed based on the number of vulnerable people, if you do a consensus, those in Kano, you'll see that they're completely different. So you can't give the same number of truck of rice to the different states that have different people.
Using this example, Bielsa is getting 20 trucks for 3 million people. You need to take 10 of those trucks. Probably split 5 extra to Kano, but we don't. Our politics doesn't play like that.
It doesn't.
And it takes a really tough person to make that kind of decision and say, you know what, this is based off of your last census plus let's add some percentages to it, because we still have not done a new census. So let's add some percentages to it, and let's have an estimated population growth and the estimated population of those vulnerable in your area.
I know that. Listen, I know that there would be more reactions because this, for example, it makes you think and say, oh, it's true. Look at this now. I pray these guys won't hide the rice. Palliative taught us so much about their nature. Anytime the presidency meant well, when it gets to some of them, everything turns inside out or outside in.
It's turning on its own. Someone asked, who are the vulnerable? What is the quality each vulnerable household gets? How long will this food last them for? The state governments will fill up their warehouses again with the food. Wow. So it seems most people are, to a point, appreciative of what the federal government is doing. Their concerns now are at the state level.
Which I'm sure, you know, this gesture will be lost in translation, because if it trickles down, to state governments and local governments, oh my God, by the time it gets to... So I think that's everybody's worry. And then, of course, also looking at, is that going to solve the long-term issue of poverty, of no food, of hardship, of everything? Yeah, we get the rice. Okay, we eat it now after 2 weeks, if the rice reach 2 weeks now. After then, so what? What next?
Because in Lagos, how many local government areas does Lagos have? I think 23 officially.
Yeah,
there are 33 LCDA. So if you send, you can't even send one truck to one local government because we have more local governments than trucks.
Yeah.
See, this math, I don't envy the people who have to do this math.
Well, honestly, it feels like just a goodwill act because it's something that would happen and then we would forget. How about looking at reducing the price of things? I know it's not so easy, but just eating rice and forgetting it is not the solution that we're looking for.
It's not.
All right.
So they said I should still give you some more food for thought. This time it's wrong. Well, rice was raw too anyway. But just last week, the First Lady, Remi Tinubu, launched her Every Home a Garden initiative. She encouraged all Nigerian women to join the competition and get involved in farming and food production. Now, we know what we experience when we go to the market. So there's been a lot of back and forth on this. So the federal government under the Tinubu administration has this project. Now the First Lady also has what we consider a First Lady project, encouraging Nigerian women across the country to go back and find a way to garden in their homes. The reactions, I think, are what has been quite interesting. Why? She's laughing. But she said competition, so I was hearing something around that. Somebody who has the best garden, and I don't know what the timeline was, like 10 million?
Money,
10 million naira. And that 10 or 20. I can't remember. Asha knows 2 digits millions.
Something like that, yes.
It's really quite interesting. She said she has planted 7 different vegetables. I'm just thinking about, I don't have a backyard. I have a compound. Because Nigerians, we don't like greenery. You build to the wall. Just create a small, and I missed it. I grew up actually gardening with my mom. I don't know.
I don't know. It's not something that we are used to. And when I see
what you say in Lagos.
Well, wherever it is that you are, so far as you're in this Nigeria, wherever it is, I don't think people in Lagos farm or garden a lot, except maybe people in the mainland, probably because, I don't know, it's not as put together like on the island where there's interlocking tiles and there's
concrete jungle.
Everything, like Tulu says, is built from wall to wall. I miss that also. So what I do for me is that maybe because I have, like you say, you grew up plucking water leaf and removing grass from it. When you do something wrong, they punish you. One time, like, son, carry the hoe, weed all the grass, do this, do that. My grandmother, rest her soul, she would come to the house. When she knocks, all of us would say, shh, shh.
Because it's work.
The only thing I remember was we had a maize farm, I think.
There was always maize.
Sustainable, to be honest. There was the time my mom said I should bring cane, and I couldn't find cane, so I just uprooted one of it and then gave it to her.
She did not cane you with it?
She did.
I will cane you with it. Why won't she cane you with it?
Why didn't you add that? So now, when I realize when I want to grow, I have to get a bath. You know, the baby bath.
Yes.
I put soil in it and just grow if I want to grow like water leaf. Because sometimes you miss it. It's not idleness, so. It's just when you look at how the economy is going, you say, well, since we are government unto ourselves, let us government our kitchen by ourselves. So you grow like basic things like ugu leaf, water leaf,
tomatoes,
basil,
tomato.
So, I mean, and you just, it's not a lot of work. Just throw the water, so you just pour the water there, pour the water there. You think it begins to sprout. It's amazing.
We have some tweets in reaction to that because as we married that with the federal government trying to put the rice, it's also an interesting perspective on the other side. So let's get some of the tweets. Okay, let's take. Oh my goodness. Okay, Ayo Bankole, in response to the First Lady's tweet encouraging every home a garden, he said 133 million Nigerians, that's 65% of the population, are multi-dimensionally poor.
Wow.
National MPI is 0.257, i.e. the Nigerian poor live through over 25% of all possible deprivations. So a Nigerian First Lady is declaring in every home a garden challenge. This is the reality of the Nigeria she is challenging, of the Nigerian she's challenging.
Now that's deep. And
it's very deep.
When you look at that and you look at, see, he's not playing. What he's saying is actually, this is serious.
So marry that with the rice you're giving out as well.
That's why I said I wish you could plant the rice.
Do you know how long?
Right.
That's why they beat you with the. That's why they beat you with the yam you have still.
Now people are looking for alternatives.
But you know, we had a guest. Was it Gina
Chef.
Foods, the
Gina,
chef,
yeah.
who talked about how she had started her home garden and she had they broke the concrete and then they had tires. I know some people use tires. Some guy even posted about how he bought loamy soil and they were charging him 600. Now he said Nigerians are even making me pay for soil. But there are people who are interested in it. There are people who have already started this sort of urban home garden thing. So I don't think the First Lady is necessarily too far off.
It's not too far, but it's just the same, comparing it to the vulnerable. When they say vulnerable, it's not just people that cannot afford to eat. We're talking about people that cannot afford to pay their medical bills, people that cannot afford to transport, that cannot afford to send their children to school. Who is going to have the time to start gardening?
That's why I say Nigerians and our blood is hot. You're saying, okay, so with all the problems, madam, you have planted 7 different vegetables.
Yes, someone
okay,
said,
how does
we don't chop belly food, I go enter backyard, they plant. Like, you have to find something to eat first.
And then you ask yourself, so why didn't we think of this thing 7 years ago? Well, still, why is it now that
why can't 3 things be running concurrently? Why can't 4 things be true at the same time? It's a good initiative. It's an idea. They're sending rice at the same time. It's an idea, but then it also, 2 of them coexist in a Nigeria where if we are 10 in a room, 6.5 of us, or almost 7 of us, are multidimensionally poor. When you break down 65%, that means about 10 people in a room, 6 Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. They can exist on the same plane.
If we're talking about things running concurrently, there has to be one that is in favor of the people, that is sustainable, like making things more affordable for people to buy. That's the kind of concurrency we want to see. Okay, affordability, then rice and gardening, no problem. But that you're sharing rice that will not last 1 week. You're asking me to garden and even saying the one that buds the most, or what's the word you give it? How? Where will I buy the fertilizer?
When you finish working, by the time you finish on Lagos roads and you get home, you're exhausted. When is it the time to garden? Saturday you are washing, you're cleaning, you're chasing everything.
Never time for, unless you make time for what is important.
That's what I'm saying. But you're tired, and then Sunday you go to church. Some people spend the whole day.
Because if I'm going to, we want to go and buy 5 tatache for 1,000 naira yesterday, it's going to become important when it's hitting your wallet.
Not everybody is talented or has that grace, like we say on Lagos roads. To be green thumbed. Not everybody has that. Some people don't get the patience to look at this. They say, go and bring cash. You uprooted the maize. And
you will never live this thing down.
You just uprooted it.
You will never live this thing down.
You guys.
Should you have respect for the plant, respect for the work that went into growing, cultivating the maize?
No,
you just uprooted it. Imagine you have children in the house and you've diligently planted all your whatever, and they go, "Mommy, see, mommy," and they uprooted.
Mommy's going to be like, "You to see." Wow.
No, but honestly,
I'm serious. So guys, it is. These are the realities that we cannot and the proper name we cannot deny. These are the realities that we cannot deny. That's why I hooks. But listen,
every home in garden.
Let's set the background for the next conversation we'll go to when we come back from the break.
Okay. I hope it's not food, because I'll get up from here.
It's today
is food.
Yes,
we must talk about it.
Yesterday was heavy, was catch up Monday. Today is food. That's our reality. We'll be right back, guys.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Jasiri, and we're live on all our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Just use the hashtag Jasiri. That way you can be part of the conversation. Now, let's move things along. An interesting development happened in Ile-Ife. The Oni of Ife, Oba Eniton Ogunwusi, forgive me, implemented strict measures to control the soaring prices of food and essential commodities in his domain. Now, he's threatened to banish any trader or market association member who sells goods beyond the reach of the common people. He has also banned all market associations and unions from fixing prices or coercing members to sell at specific rates. This move is intended to curb the excessive prices of goods. Additionally, any trader caught cheating customers by under-measuring quantities will also face banishment.
Now, that is what should run concurrently.
Fine man.
Yes, that's what should run concurrently with all this. Please,
can we take the video?
Things that I've been hearing.
It's what Captain said I heard. Please, can we take the video?
Ògúnwùsì Ọ̀jájá ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì àti gbogbo àwọn ìjòyè mẹ́rìndínlógún tó ń bá Olúfẹ́ gbìmọ̀ràn ni wọ́n ní kí àwọn bàbá lọ́jà àti ìyá lọ́jà kí wọ́n lọ jẹ́ iṣẹ́ ìfún gbogbo ọjà ní ilẹ̀ Ifẹ̀ àti ibi tí Ifẹ̀ dé dúró wípé láti òní lọ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìpàdé tí ibi tá a ti kúrò nísìn nínú pálásì wọ́n ní àwọn ò fẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹlẹ́gbẹ́jẹgbẹ́ kan bóyá ẹgbẹ́ onírẹ̀sì ẹgbẹ́ aláta elépo títí débi tó ń kó lè kéré mọ́ pé àwọn fọwọ́ fagilé láti òní lọ. Wọ́n ní ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá tún wá tún gbéra tó bá wá sọ pé òun gbé ẹgbẹ́ kan dìde pé ara àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ yẹn pé bóyá ẹnìkan ń tajà bóyá ó fẹ́ ta ọjà tí yóò wù lóye tó fẹ́ tà á tán wá mú gbogbo tí ìlú lè fẹ́ bá ti ṣe sí kó fara mọ́. Lẹ́yìn náà wípé ó dé èèwọ̀ láti òní lọ pé lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí ata ti wọ́n sẹ́yìn tó ti wá sílẹ̀ wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ lé ata 500 naira mọ́ múrí márùn-ún àti àpò kan ẹni tó bá wá fẹ́ rà ó lè kó papọ̀ àyàfẹ́ tó bá fẹ́ rà pẹ̀rẹ̀.
So just a brief translation, the chief said that they were rising from a meeting with the Oni of Ife, and the agreement was that there would no longer be any market associations. That's one, that the associations were therefore banned and that they could no longer fix prices. Then he said something about 500 naira pepper, but I wasn't able to hear it. So I think he said Komale, which means do not put it down. That I don't think there'll be 500 naira pepper again.
No, I think they said no.
Komale.
I don't know.
Muimeji ati apukan.
No more. No more.
I said no more. Go on, lay. No more 500 naira pepper.
Okay, so from 200.
So Muimeji is 200. Apokan is 100 naira. So no more 500 naira. So that part didn't really make sense. But we'll get some clarity on that.
So it's just basically what you read about, not cheating and not
under measure. So Catherine, let me start with you. I have my interesting thoughts on this.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want to start?
No.
You're gathering yourself. Blessings, go ahead.
My own question is,
she's ready, don't worry.
No. So my question is, this banishment thing, can we introduce it not in the rural areas now, but in the urban? So when you offend, they banish you to another country. Because I would like to apply.
I should have known.
No, you cannot apply it. Is that what you have to say to this entire story?
I'm just very curious.
That's why I said.
And do they pay for your transport? I'm just very.
They don't pay for your transport. They sing and gong you out of the village.
Yes. To where?
And you go
wherever you like, outside of the borders and the boundaries of
they escort me. Now I'm thinking
let's come back to what we were discussing.
And take yourself.
This is why they beat her.
I'll be dancing.
This does not work. They will escort you to Niger.
No, but what I do like this. This is amazing, honestly. I wish that this can be implemented on a wider scale. I'm talking about the federal government, putting a ban on this excessive hike in prices. Yes. Everything is now about dollar. Yes. They ask you for something that we're planting and growing here, you say the dollar has gone up.
But it's not as simple as that. These people still have to buy fertilizer. The people who are growing on the farms have to buy fertilizer. That has gone up in price. When you talk about movement from farm to market, have you seen the state of your roads? A lot of times people are losing half, maybe not half, but they're losing a good percentage of their produce before it makes it to the market. They want to make up for what left versus what arrived. They want to make up for that. So by the time they're selling to the seller, who's then because with market people, you'll see the ones who sell the big bags, and then the ones who now piece out. Everybody's adding their small gain on top of it. So it's not as simple as just saying is the sellers. The part I like the most is banning these market associations. I think they're very anti-competitive. You'll go and you want to buy something, and they'll say, that is what our association has agreed. And people are not able to, if you are doing 50, I'm not able to do 45. Just to be competitive and draw more customers. Everybody's almost selling the same thing. So typical things like sugar, flour, sometimes with eggs is different because of sizing. So there's certain things that are locked in based on the agreement with the egbe. And that is a very anti-competitive way for us to exist. So I like that part of it, but I worry about his ability. So people were questioning if he has the right to actually banish. He's the only of Ife. And the chief said it's where Ife is and to where Ife extends to like its boundaries, that is where his rule is. But in a democracy in the 21st century, as a Nigerian with the constitution, I have freedom of movement and freedom to reside wherever. It would be interesting to see how that works. If somebody was caught and they only wants to banish them, the person said, I'm Nigerian, I live here, you can't banish me. So I customary and tradition and modern
I do not believe that there is a clash, because for them to have coexisted this long, the fact that they still have like kings in this area, it means that there are some rules that are not bendable when it comes to the whole. It's just like Sharia law, for example. You can't say because I'm a Nigerian I can do. The Sharia law is a strict law. It applies to the people that it applies
if
to.
You live there, so if you live there, that means you are under the umbrella of that law. What interested me is the way they're looking and they're listening to this information with almost reverence. And I remember I sat in the studio and said, I like the rural life. It's simple, it's straightforward. Like now, I don't think they would go, they're inclined, or they would even think of going against what the owner of Ife said, because it's a community that he rules with. I mean, the four corners or the boundaries of wherever Ife begins and ends, that's where he rules. My concern is people who are selling, how do they make their money? Even if you say, okay, don't increase prices unnecessarily, but how do they make their monies back?
Because doesn't it seem like you've traded multiple egbes for one association under the Oni of Ife, which is telling you can't raise prices?
Sellers? Are you going, because listen, they have to sell, and are they going to sell at a loss?
And so the Nigerians who are also vulnerable.
Yes,
they're the ones who are selling.
I like the fact that they as a community, they seem to be like
united on this.
Yes, they seem to be together, synced in this. But my own is the government going to come from sideways to help them? I mean, to support the sellers, to make sure that the prices are basic and minimum enough for people to buy what they need to do without breaking a sweat, without panicking. Because in Lagos, if you're going to the market nowadays, your heart is beating. Listen, guys, I'm not even joking. I hold my list tightly. And I don't veer outside.
You still hold lists?
No,
I just start from the beginning of the market. Anyway, the money reach, I'll go back.
No, but you need to know what you're going to buy with that money. I hold lists.
Because before you know it, you're buying things to just make soups and things, and 75K has gone. You first of all do POS. Let me hold 25 just in
and
case.
they remove 200. I don't how many from you.
So by the time you're buying meat, you're buying pomo, you're buying because you have maybe different soups you want to make. So you're spreading. This one will have more pomo than meat because this one will have more meat than. You know, by the time you're doing all the mathematics, you ask yourself, and you carry your bag, you're asking yourself, what the heck?
I buy?
Oh
what
my
the heck?
God, what the heck?
People be spreading out like, what the heck?
You're putting more water in your soup, you're putting more water in your stews. So if that, and I think, to an extent, I actually comment. I like this initiative by Ife and the owner of Ife. I like it, and the fact that people will be banished, my dear, you are not unbanishable.
Stop it.
Hey, focus.
Stop it. Abi, is he looking for another wife?
No.
Catherine, does it have a nice ring?
No one that she said honey of Ife is it's not honey, it's oni. Because I'm like honey, like what do you mean?
Right?
Maybe we should visit her. It's not really far from.
Oh no, Catherine,
sweetie of
Ife. He has a nice ring. But anyway, but let's wrap this up very quickly, because there's still questions as to his ability to enforce food price control. In your French that's giving on that. In this dispensation that's given to us. The role of our traditional rulers, this is one step. I think there's something I heard, not so similar, but something a traditional ruler was doing in the East as well, trying to sort of help with the prices. But there's another part he mentioned, under measurement. And I know that we used to have weights and measures, standards weights and measures organization or group that used to go to the markets to test the things that people are using. To, I think this is a really good time to bring them back. Because the things I've heard about people, the things I've seen, that people will they will burn the bottom of something to change it. They'll put a hole, all these kind of things.
Especially tomatoes, the paint buckets.
And then when you
always
get
check
down,
your insides.
Yes.
Don't allow them pack it away from your face because you wouldn't see.
Absolutely.
Let them remove the tomatoes in front of you when you're buying a basket.
Helping to, and then bag tomatoes at the bottom.
So just elevate it. Meanwhile, there's nothing there.
We're a different breed.
It's wickedness.
It's wickedness, especially in this time. Yes, they want to make money to take home, but that's not the kind of money you want to be taking home. So we'll see how things go, because again, I'll emphasize there have been questions about the Oni's capacity to make these kind of, not capacity, his there's a word I'm looking for. His jurisdiction, or to sort of enforce this ban, and particularly sort of this food control. So I know in the coming days and weeks we'll be hearing more about this. But we've wrapped up those kind of conversations.
No more food, right?
Wait, let me check the other story. No more food.
No more food.
Which means we're getting into hot topics. Let's go. At this point, that sound should start giving some people nightmares, but not us. So let's get into our hot topics right now. The Nigerian police force has this story. The Nigerian police force has dismissed Corporal Buba Adamu for refusing to report to his new post in Kaduna State and for engaging in illegal activities. You think it's just that? But wait. According to SP Irene Igbo, the spokesperson for the Cross River Police Command, Adamu was transferred from Cross River Command to Kaduna 9 years ago. What? But never reported to his new station. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 365. Now wait. Instead, he promoted himself to the rank of superintendent and operated illegally in Calabar. His activities were exposed by concerned members of the Nasarawa community, which is a Hausa Fulani settlement in Calabar, who reported him to the authorities. Adamu had been operating as a mobile police officer without any supervision or reporting to a specific police command since 2015. I still have more. Despite not fulfilling his duties, he continued to receive his salary. Now, following his dismissal, all police property in his possession was retrieved, and his case has been handed over to the court for further action.
Can we say that Adamu is not the problem?
But Adamu is actually not the problem.
No,
it's not the problem.
I said it yesterday. What did I say? POLICE. That word is a problem. Just mention police.
The problem. He just took advantage of the opportunity that
can anything good come out of Nazareth? 9 be police. Can anything? Why would you leave that lacuna? 9 years. A police officer is collecting his salary uninterruptedly. 9 years. You were supposed to resume in Kaduna. The people in Kaduna, did they not say, excuse me,
we have not seen him. Did he get lost on the way?
His mobile phone number must be working. You must. Where
I like the superintendent part.
No,
no. Himself.
The one I like is the one you promote, mobile police officer.
Yeah, so
this
mobile just goes to show that a lot of people, a lot of police, I don't want to generalize, but like they're obviously working independently, because you deploy someone somewhere, he's not reporting to you. The ones that you sent him to, they did not see him. The one that he left, they did not see him for 9 good years, and he's still receiving salary. And nobody thought to ask, where is this guy? So what's he up to?
9 years.
9 years.
My own is, 15. You know, when they say he was involved in illegal activities, he says he was a mobile police. Call him, he'll be there. Is it that kind of, if you have an issue? Because sometimes, because of the promptness with which you attend to, if there's a case, or if there's something like something is going wrong somewhere, and maybe, like they say, it's in Cross River, and you say, no, call this Baba Adam. If you call Adam, Adam will be there now. So sometimes, maybe that people begin to depend on that, because all you want is effectiveness. I have a problem, I want someone, call Adamu. Adamu go there. You don't know that, call him, Adamu will be there. But not knowing that the man was just
So he was involved in the police illegal activities.
Yes.
And this is so sad, because if something happens, God forbid that maybe he becomes a trigger happy police and shoots someone, and they're trying to report him, they're like, oh no, this one is not in our, it's not for Kaduna, it's not for Calabar, so where is he from? Nobody
Meanwhile,
knows.
he'll be wearing your uniform, wearing your beret, having all the
It's literally like saying you dismiss someone and the person is still operating.
I say he promoted himself to superintendent. I don't understand.
So it's like saying that they send me to Abuja now, to our bureau in Abuja, but somehow I'm still here. So, but that's my issue.
You're not even here. You're somewhere else.
That's the thing I do not believe is possible. I do not believe that this guy was able to operate in Calabar without members of the police command knowing he was still around.
Because they would say, Baba, you sit there here, they would actually be talking like that.
Are you telling me, okay, he only operates at night when they can't see him, or he what? He did this thing undercover. Yes, maybe they were not involved with him, but a lot of people knew he was still around. I cannot believe that they did not know.
Yeah, bro.
So members of the Nasra community were the ones who eventually went and reported the matter because they were caught up in his illegal activities. He was probably either asking people to bribe him or being used as a strong arm or a heavy man or whatnot.
There must have been something, because why do you suddenly report him? You knew that he was there and doing what he was doing. Now he doesn't favor you anymore, or he has roped you into, and the shade, the potopota is telling his white, is telling your white too. And then you decide that, oh, excuse me, or perhaps this man, you are looking for him, he's here, or he hasn't gone to where he was supposed to go.
So he must have been useful. He may have been useful for some people. And now they're saying that part of the reason they're even coming out more is because there's pressure for the police state command to release him. He's in jail. Who is pressuring to release somebody who had dereliction of duty 9 good years? So one, what is the process for transferring a police officer? I know there's some papers. When you get the paper signing out of a command, you're meant to sign in somewhere. Someone's supposed to say this person has arrived for 9 years. So it was not a computer, it was not an audit that caught him. It was not nobody. It was the fact that the community got tired of his activities for 9 years.
What is this thing with begging? What is this thing? Yesterday was the same thing. The story we took here when a police officer was arrested for raping a 17-year-old girl. Say family members were coming to beg. What? I don't understand the begging. So you're begging to release him to free him from jail?
I'm not good. I don't think anybody's begging. I don't think. I just feel like the police doesn't want that pressure on themselves. They just want the story to die. And
no, it cannot just die.
It's possible.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's begging for anybody.
It's possible.
I'm not even going to
They just want to dismiss him and let the story move. He's no longer wearing your uniform. We're satisfied.
I would not even be surprised if he's not dismissed.
No, they say he's been dismissed and handed to the court.
The one that
but what can the court do? I mean, we know that, okay,
so there's going to be a case brought against him, but also who's bringing the case? Typically in this kind of situation, it should be the police, because it was dereliction of duty under the police that is bringing it as the prosecution. But
what can be the maximum sentence, though? What can be the maximum sentence? What can...
9 years, and they kept paying him salary.
C'est ça. 9 years.
So not once did the system catch that this person was not where he was supposed. And if it's happening with just this guy, you guys cannot tell me that it's not happening with other people, other police officers across the country. It's not a big thing, but you can't tell me this is just one.
Because if something were happening in that unit, for example, in that Kaduna unit that he was supposed to be at, wouldn't there be questions raised that, okay, this is happening in maybe Kaduna?
An extra body.
Yeah, where is the extra? This person, where is this person?
Every time I have to wait until something happens. They're transferring you automatically. The other ones know that somebody is coming. So you're expecting.
I don't have anything more to say.
Police
we should reflect on his.
I wish we had stayed on food.
So is he going to be made to return the salary? Oh, he can never return the salary. He can't have that money.
No.
9 years of salary. Where does he? How does he want to return it?
Why would he be made to? It's not his fault.
Normal, somebody that drove somebody just returned the money.
It's not his fault that he didn't get caught earlier, but yes, he is responsible. They've made a federal lawmaker return salary.
If anybody should go to jail, it's all of them at this point. It's not. He's just a part. Is a pawn in the bigger picture. Because you keep paying him salary. You cannot tell me that you don't know that this guy is not working, is not reporting to any of the two.
For me, I think it's just the temerity of it all, man. That's like in broad daylight. I don't get, where are we headed to? In this
nowhere. We've been headed to nowhere for a while.
Okay.
We are a very active country, so we do a lot of motion, but we never go anywhere.
Motion, no direction.
Motion, no direction.
My Lord.
They said we should go to this.
All right, so in our next story, media personality Daddy Freeze was recently fined 5 million naira for committing adultery with, in quote, wife Benedicta Elechi. In response, Benedicta conducted an Instagram live session, always Instagram, where she addressed the ongoing controversy. She claimed that she'd filed for divorce from her former husband 12 years ago, alleging that they shared different sexual preferences and citing this as a reason for their separation. Now, during the live session, she defended her actions, asserting that she and her husband Freeze had not committed any offense. She now questions the norms, the societal norms that often shame women for moving on while the divorce proceedings are ongoing. This would be Freeze and his dark, that very pretty face. That's his pretty face.
Let's watch.
Pretty faced wife. Let's watch this.
If divorcing my ex 12 years ago and starting a relationship before the end of my 10-year divorce lawsuit makes me an adulteress, I am going to wear that tag like a crown with pride on my forehead. For every woman going through a divorce that believes that because our judicial system takes 10 years to 12 years and even more to issue a divorce certificate.
Okay. What do you guys think about this fine imposed on Daddy Freeze for... Imposed on Freeze?
So I'm going to go to her straight. She has a very valid point. You can be a divorced man or a man undergoing divorce proceedings in this country and do a traditional marriage and get married and have children and move on. Yeah. And your wife is stuck waiting for a finalization of divorce.
We've talked about that thing.
We have.
Yeah.
And it's not so much, I don't know the intricacies of this case, but given that it's a conversation we've had before, the country makes it difficult for women to move on.
Yeah.
And so, but a man can easily move on. But for me also in a divorce situation, dot your I's, cross your T's. I don't know if that was done and now they're going to appeal the appeal, court's judgment and ruling on this, but I have that to say. I agree with her on that. A man will move on, have a whole new family, and the divorce is still ongoing. And you don't hear people batting a single eyelash.
Yep, that is true. But so why is it then different for women? And why do you know, and if she says if that makes me an adulteress, then so be it.
She's going to wear that scarlet letter A with pride.
Don't.
This adultery we speak of, is it with her or against her? Because I'm kind of confused there.
It's with her. So it's like, I know in the U.S. some states, particularly in the South, have something called alienation of affection. So it is going after the third party that you claim is responsible for the breakdown of your marriage. She's saying the marriage had already broken down because she allegedly found out he had different sexual preferences of which she used to initiate the divorce. She says divorce went on for 10 years. It's very possible that 10 years her husband has moved on. But the husband went and sued Freeze to court saying that they were still married when Freeze started engaging in a relationship with his wife. And so therefore he's committing adultery with his wife. So, yes. I absolutely agree with her about the societal double standards.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There are very fine lines in between, and really one can overlap into the other.
Absolutely.
How this is going to play out, I don't know. I think it's already something that's already in the cooler. Why do you not wake it up now? Why can't we just move?
No, so this is appeal court, which means this is probably the third court or the second court that's gone into. Yes.
That's why you can hear cases like that span over, the years. 10 years, a long time.
I'd be really interested in finding out how, if the husband moved on in those 5-10 years, what his status is as well. Because you can counter too. It's not only going one way. And I think that's a very interesting part of this conversation, but I will tell you 100%, we do not treat men who are getting divorced the same way we
don't. A lot of them, Tolu is right on that, a lot of them get married while the divorce is ongoing. They say, okay, the traditional wedding has nothing to do with the court, one
eyes are always on the women.
And the eyes are on the women. So also when you lose a partner or you lose a husband, the society is telling you...
Are there widow rights? There are only widow rights, but there are no widower rights.
But the society is telling the woman how long she should mourn, what she should do in the first month. A woman who has lost her husband cannot get up a week after and just go back to her daily living.
Why are you working?
People feel. So there's just women, you can't win. You look at it from different angles. You're asking, how do you win? How do you even navigate? How do you get out of all of this? And so we are struggling. It's bad enough. We struggle with everything. Menopause, menstruation. Men, we are on... Listen.
Everything men.
Yo, guys.
Men.
are the men.
I needed that laugh. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, we have to go. This story, there are a lot of dimensions. She's talking, I don't know if Freeze himself has particularly made a statement about this.
He is, Freeze is vocal.
Freeze.
Yeah,
yes.
He's vocal about it. He's not someone to, in as much as he might use words and be eloquent using the words, but he's not someone to shy away from talking. So I think if he hasn't said something, he will say something.
And I think this is a story that's going to draw lots of societal conversations out. And I hope people are open, are willing to be honest and open about this conversation about women divorcing our society, women being on the receiving end of such situations. And let's have honest, open conversations about this.
All right, so we go. This is how today's episode has been. So we hope you have enjoyed, as usual, today's episode of Jasiri. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, for another exciting episode. Until then, it's goodbye.
Go and farm.
It's making me hungry.
So that we don't end up beating you like we're beating blessings.
Go and farm.
Go and farm.
It's making me hungry. Yes,
Which making you?
It's not just news to us, it's our voice and our story. It's our report, how we tell African stories for Africans. With detailed, timely and authentic reports, News Central is your home for true news and African stories. I am Omolola Ololade. This is News Central.